Good morning, students. In the previous part, we had started with the process of spermatogenesis, where we had first studied about the three categories of animals divided on the basis of the process of spermatogenesis taking place in them. So the three categories of animals were the first category was the seasonal breeders, where these animals have a particular season for breeding and their testes are functional only in their breeding season. The examples of such animals were bats, sheep, and goats. The second category of animals were the continuous breeders, where their testis is extra-abdominal throughout their life and they are functional throughout their life after puberty. The examples of the second categories of continuous breeders were horse, humans, and lions. And the third categories are the breeders whose testes are always intra-abdominal, because the process of spermatogenesis in these animals, they require a body temperature. The examples that we had taken was elephant and whales. Then we had discussed a brief introduction of the process of spermatogenesis, where the first phase, that is the formation of spermatids, they are divided into three subphases: multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. And then these spermatids that are formed by these three processes are small circular and non-motile structures, and they become motile in the next phase, that is spermiogenesis. So in this part we will study the process of spermatogenesis, we will study the phases of spermatogenesis in detail. So this process, it takes place in the seminiferous tubules, and these seminiferous tubules are lined with germinal epithelium, the cuboidal germinal epithelium that we had seen when we had studied the TS of the testis. So we have seen these cells earlier. There are two types of cells, the cuboidal germ cells, and others are the pyramid shaped Sertoli cells. Here we will only talk about the germ cells, that is the cuboidal germ cell. These cuboidal germ cells are capable of undergoing meiosis to form the gametes or the sperms. These germ cells undergoes first phase of spermatogenesis, that is the multiplication phase. In multiplication phase, pay attention on this phase now. In multiplication phase, the germ cells undergoes mitotic division, that is it undergoes mitosis to form two daughter cells. The germ cell is diploid in nature, that is 2n. The division is taking place is mitosis, so the daughter cells are also formed which are diploid. This multiplication continues and these cells, they divide further to form more diploid cells. Now all these diploid cells are known as spermatogonia, and all of them are diploid, 2n. These spermatogonias which are formed will behave as, some of them will behave as stem cells. What does stem cell means? That means they will undergo multiplication to only form more and more spermatogonia. So these cells that undergo in the formation of stem cells are known as type A spermatogonia. They divide mitotically to form more spermatogonias, but they do not take further part in the process. And the other cells, other than the stem cells, which participate in the next stage, these are called the type B spermatogonia. They will enter the next stage of spermatogenesis. The next stage or the next phase is called the growth phase. In this phase, the spermatogonium increases in size by accumulation of nutrients. So if you see, this spermatogonia, it has increased in size. This is because it has accumulated some nutrition. Now these cells are called as primary spermatocytes, and they are again diploid in nature. Now this cell, it enters the next stage, that is the maturation stage or the maturation phase. In this phase, meiotic division takes place. So this meiotic division here, it is completed in two parts, meiosis 1 and then followed by meiosis 2. So this primary spermatocyte, which is diploid in nature, it undergoes meiosis 1 and it forms two cells. These cells, these haploid cells, it undergoes meiosis, which is a reduction division, so it will form haploid cells now. So these haploid cells that are produced are known as the secondary spermatocytes. Now both the haploid secondary spermatocyte will undergo the process of meiosis 2, resulting into the formation of two daughter cells from each of the secondary spermatophyte cells. These are again haploid in nature. All the four daughter cells are haploid in nature. So these cells, they are known as the spermatids. So this is how with these three phases, that is the multiplication phase, the growth phase and the maturation phase, the spermatids are formed. We'll just once more revise it. So this is the cell, this is the primordial cell which enters in the first phase, that is multiplication phase, and with the process of mitotic division it forms four cells. These four cells are known as spermatogonia. Out of the four cells, the two cells will undergo in the process which is known as stem cells. These stem cells, they undergo division only if they want to form more spermatogonia by the process of mitotic division. And the rest of the cell, they enter the next phase, which is called the growth phase. In this growth phase, what happens? Due to the accumulation of nutrients, the size of the cell increases, and now this diploid cell is known as primary spermatocyte. The primary spermatocyte now enters the next phase, which is called the maturation phase. Here first the meiotic division takes place, the first meiotic division. So now this diploid primary spermatocyte will go under meiotic division and form haploid secondary spermatocyte. Now these two secondary spermatocytes, which are haploid in nature, they further undergo meiosis 2 and form two daughter cells each, which are known as spermatids. So this is where the first phase is completed. So these spermatids that are formed, they are haploid, circular and non-motile in nature. Now the second phase occurs in which these non-motile circular spermatids change into motile sperms. This happens in the process of spermiogenesis, that is the next phase of spermatogenesis. Now let us study in detail that how these non-motile cells change into motile functional sperms. But there are some changes that takes place in the formation of spermiogenesis. Let us study the changes that takes place into these spermatids for the process of spermiogenesis. The first change is condensation of the nucleus. So the nucleus is going to condense by losing mRNA and acidic protein. So it loses mRNA and acidic protein. So what is left inside it is DNA and the basic proteins. Second, the shape of the nucleus also changes. The nucleus becomes a little pointed, like it is oval shape in human sperms. Third, the Golgi body, it breaks into two parts. The larger part is called the acrosome, and the smaller part, that is the remaining part, is called the Golgi rest. The acrosomes are producing sperm lyses. Sperm lyses are enzymes that digest all the layer around the egg or the ovum to enter inside. The next change that takes place is the complete structure of the sperm or the spermatid. It gets covered in plasma membrane. Then the fifth change is the cytoplasm is lost. So the cytoplasm only remains in the tail region. Other than the tail region, in all the other region, there is no cytoplasm. And the last change that takes place is mitochondria. It changes into a spiral structure which is known as Nebenkeim. So these are the 6 changes that takes place in the spermatids during the process of spermiogenesis. The first one is condensation of nucleus, where the nucleus condenses by losing mRNA and acidic proteins, and what is left in the nucleus is the DNA and the basic protein. The second change is the shape of the nucleus changes into a oval shape. Then the Golgi body, it breaks into two parts. The larger part is called as acrosome, which produces an enzyme which is known as sperm lysis. These enzymes are required to break the wall or to dissolve the wall of the egg so that the sperm can easily penetrate into it. The next change is the complete structure. It gets covered by plasma membrane. Then the fifth change is the cytoplasm is only there in the tail region. Rest in other region, the cytoplasm is absent. And the last change is the mitochondria. It changes into spiral structure which is known as Nebenkeim. Now, there is one more term that we need to understand in this process is spermiation. So, spermiation is the release of mature sperm from the Sertoli cells. Now, what does that mean? For that, we need to go a little back. Yeah. So, the TS of the human testis. So, when the spermatids are produced by these sperm cells into the seminiferous tubules, they are embedded in the folds of Sertoli cells. If you see over here, these are the pyramid shaped Sertoli cells, and the sperms that are produced, or the spermatids that are produced, they get deposited into the folds of the Sertoli cells. And these Sertoli cells will only release them when they are matured. So the sperms that are collected in the lumen, this is the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. So the sperms which are collected in this lumen are the mature sperms which are released by the Sertoli cells. This process of releasing of the mature sperms by the Sertoli cell is known as spermiation. So students, there are 3 terms that we need to understand in this process. The first one is spermatogenesis, that is this whole process. Then is spermiogenesis, which is the second phase of spermatogenesis. And the third term is spermiation, that is releasing of mature sperms by the Sertoli cells. Now in the next slide, let us study the structure of the mature sperm. So the sperms, they are haploid, flagellate and motile structures. They are divided into 4 parts. As you can see, the 4 parts. The head region, the neck region, which is a smaller part. This is the middle piece, and the rest is the tail region. The head, it is oval in shape, and it consists of 2 parts, the haploid nucleus, this is the haploid nucleus, and there is a cap-like structure which is called the acrosome. Now this acrosome, it is formed by Golgi body and it contains hydrolytic and proteolytic enzymes like zonalysin. Now this enzyme, it helps in dissolving the wall or the layer of the egg so that the sperm can easily enter inside. The neck region is a very simple and a small region which just consists of two centrioles, the proximal and the distal centriole. The middle piece, it has an axial filament surrounded by 10 to 14 spiral turns of this mitochondria. So the function of this mitochondria is to provide energy which is necessary for the movement of this sperm. Then comes the tail region. This tail region is partially covered with this plasma membrane, and the end piece it does not contain plasma membrane. So only some part, that is a partial part of the tail, contains the plasma membrane. Now the function of this tail is movement. So that is why it is called a flagellate structure. This tail, it moves and the sperm, it swims and it enters the egg. Now these sperms, they are of two types. They are either gymnosperms or androsperms. Gymnosperms will give rise to, are the female sperm you can say, and androsperms are the male sperms. So both are 50-50%. So there is 50-50% chance of the birth of the female fetus or the male fetus. So the process of spermatogenesis that we had studied, it results into the formation of this haploid sperm. Again, we'll just revise it once. There are two phases. In the first phase, there are three parts. That is the multiplication phase, the growth phase, and the maturation phase, which results into the structure of these spermatids. These spermatids are circular, non-motile and haploid structure, and they undergo a process of spermiogenesis, before which they undergo certain changes. And the process of spermiogenesis is where these specialized haploid structures are formed, which is called as the sperm. So this was all about the process of spermiogenesis. Now let us take the next part of gametogenesis, that is oogenesis. Oogenesis, it is a process of formation of ovum or egg which takes place in the females. And when we talk about human females, this process of oogenesis is known as a discontinuous process. So why is it called a discontinuous process? We'll come to this a little later. Now there are some interesting things seen in human females. So during the process of gestation in females, that is the process where the embryo is developing. So in the first month of embryonic life, the female fetus, if there is a female fetus, the female fetus will already have 1700 primary follicles into its ovaries. And this 1700 primary follicles, this number, it multiplies and it becomes double and triple in the second month of the embryonic life. So when it was 1700 primary follicles, in the second month of embryonic life, it becomes 6 lakh primary follicles. This number again increases by the third month of embryonic life, that is 7 million primary follicles are formed. And after the third month of embryonic life, this 7 million primary follicles, a large mass of this primary follicles, it undergoes shrinking. So there is a shrinking of follicular cells, and now this number, it decreases till birth to 2 million primary follicles. So till birth, the female fetus will have 2 million primary follicles. And again till puberty, this number shrinks. As the follicular cells, they shrink, so this number decreases to 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles. So till the time when the female it comes to the age of puberty, the number of primary follicles in its ovary is 60,000 to 80,000. And if we take every 500 cells out of this 60,000 to 80,000 cells, only one cell it develops into the egg. So that is what we had also seen into the internal structure of the ovary that we had studied, that there is a mass of these primary cells, and out of those mass of the primary cell, only one cell develops and it forms the mature Graafian follicle. So these changes, if you see, it is divided into two parts. Some changes they take place before birth, and the other changes it takes place after puberty. So there is a break between birth to puberty in this age, in this period. So that is the reason this process of oogenesis it is called discontinuous process. There is a discontinuity between birth and puberty. And just like spermatogenesis, oogenesis is also divided into three parts, that is the multiplication phase, the growth phase, and the maturation phase. So in multiplication phase, the cells they divide mitotically and they enter the next phase, which is called the growth phase. In growth phase, the cells that have been multiplied by mitotic division, they just grow into their size. They become larger in their size due to the process of vitellogenesis. What is vitellogenesis? That is accumulation of yolk. And this accumulation of yolk, that is the amount of yolk accumulation, it depends upon species to species. Then after the growth is complete, the cell, the fully grown cell, it enters the next phase, that is called the maturation phase, where it further divides by meiotic division. So now let us see all the phases of oogenesis in detail. So in the first phase of the multiplication phase, the primary follicle it undergoes multiple mitotic division, forming diploid oogonia. So these are diploid oogonia which is formed from the primary follicle. Now this diploid oogonia, it enters the next phase, which is known as the growth phase, where the oogonia just increases in its size by the process of vitellogenesis, that is yolk accumulation or yolk formation. Now in humans, the size of this oogonia it increases 200 times due to the process of vitellogenesis. So as the size increases, this cell now it is known as primary oocyte, which is again diploid in nature. Now this primary oocyte it enters the next phase, that is called the maturation phase. And in maturation phase there are two parts, that is first meiotic division and the second meiotic division. In the first meiotic division that you see, the primary oocyte it divides into two cells, but the division over here is unequal. If you see, there is a larger cell and there is a smaller cell. Now why is this division unequal? So after the primary oocyte, the secondary oocyte that will be formed will be only one secondary oocyte. So if there is a equal division between the two cells, that is equal cytoplasm is distributed, the one cell that is going to degenerate, in that cell the cytoplasm will be of loss. So instead of two equal division, there is unequal division where one is a larger cell and the other is a smaller cell. So out of these two cells, the smaller cells, after the first meiotic division, the smaller cell will degenerate, and this cell is known as the first polar body. And the larger cell is called the secondary oocyte. Now the egg, it gets released from the ovary at this stage. We had seen in the internal structure of the ovary also, as there is a formation of secondary oocyte, the egg is released from the ovary. Now this secondary oocyte, it undergoes the second meiotic division, And again there is an unequal division of cytoplasm if you see. So the small cell here, this is called the second polar body, and the bigger one is called the egg or the ovum. But this egg formation or the ovum formation, it only takes place when the sperm enters. So we can say that meiosis II is the process which is only triggered by the entry of the sperms. Now this process of oogenesis is arrested at the stage of meiosis I, and after puberty the secondary oocyte is released, and later the process of meiosis II, this takes place only when the sperm enters. So this is how the process of oogenesis is called a discontinuous process. This year till the process of meiosis I, this oogenesis this oogenesis is arrested, and after the puberty, after the female it reaches the age of puberty, the secondary oocytes are released, and this secondary oocyte will only be converted into the ovum or the egg by meiosis II when the sperm enters. So this was the whole process of oogenesis that we studied. So in the next part we will study about the structure of the secondary oocyte, and followed by the process of fertilization or syngamy.